Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Satsang Ji, welcome to another episode of the Akaal Sikh Recovery Program, in which the Akaal Channel is hoping to help people at home, our viewers who are watching this program, anyone with an addiction, whether it be to alcohol or to any other mind or mood altering substance. Satsang Ji, the Akaal Channel has had a great response, people coming forward and seeking help, men and women. So Satsang Ji, please contact the Akaal Channel, and can I assure you all the information you give us and all the phone calls that we receive or emails are all treated with the strictest of confidentiality. Satsang Ji, I'm delighted to say we're joined by a female today, and I'd like to welcome Sonal to the show. Welcome Sonal to the Akaal Sikh Recovery Program. And first of all, I want to say a big thank you for coming on here and not being anonymous and wanting to share your journey so that you can help other females who are actually listening at home to your journey. Sonal, I'd like to ask you, I don't want to go back into your journey too much and your experiences, because we all know what it's like to be an alcoholic and what it's like to be an addict, and we've had a lot of people share their journeys. I want to know, as a female in the Asian community, what strengths and what hopes you have for the future now that you're in recovery.
Well, firstly, Jazz, thank you for having me. It's an honour actually to be able to speak about my story. I think to be able to reach an audience of predominantly women, only because I can identify with them, would mean that the stories can be shared. So my hope is really to allow people to be able to speak about alcoholism, speak about issues that they're having. Let's talk about mental awareness, mental health, and let's really try and get people the help that I think that they really need. So that's my hope, really.
Yeah, and I think, in the Asian community now, there's a lot more women suffering out there than we actually think. I know the Akaal Channel, we've had a lot of phone calls from women as well as men. But, there's a lot of women suffering in silence, thinking, we can't talk about this. I know as a man, Punjabi Sikh, how hard it was for me to come out and be open and honest about this. As a female, as a woman, it must have been very difficult.
I think for me, because I came from a supportive family, my mum was a nurse, I've come from quite a kind of modern upbringing. It was identified by my family members really when it became a problem.
Were they able to identify it quite early on?
I believe so, because in my mum's day-to-day working, she's kind of dealt with people who have addiction issues, so she did identify it early on. But I think for me, not realizing, or you don't want to admit that you have a problem, you don't necessarily know what the problem is. I went through thinking it was anxiety or heart palpitations or things like that, and then it just becomes that vicious cycle that you're drinking to stop the pain or physical pain or emotional pain or any kind of pain, and then you're back to square one. So you're just going round.
In effect, what you were doing, you were just cushioning that pain with a drink.
That's it. You just want to forget about it.
Yeah. At what point did you know it was a real problem for you?
I think when you know that you need it. There's a dependency there that you don't have with any other thing. You can't function until you've had a drink. And so, a point for me was realizing, waking up first thing in the morning, I want to have a drink now. And so that to me was a sign of, we in the kind of British culture, what we're growing up with is hair of the dog. So you think, the next day I'll just have another drink and I'll feel okay. And it's become kind of ingrained in our culture, that drinking and then the next day having another drink to sort out the night before's hangover is a done thing.
So were you working at this time?
I was. Yeah, so working in central London, in a firm that I'd been with for 8 years. I'd got myself to a position where I had disposable income, I was, got my own place, so it was everything that I needed to be able to live that life, which after work means going to the bar.
You could do that?
Yeah, you could. I could afford to, and everybody else does it, so it's acceptable. So that life in central London is about that, really.
You just used the word acceptable, and because it was acceptable in the work environment, was that almost like a validation that it's okay to do this?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, because Friday nights after work is drinks, or you have a drinks trolley coming through your office, and people are, rewarded for their hard work by champagne, drinks, beers, and that's ludicrous, really, when you think about it.
That's when you think about it now.
When you think about it now.
No, yeah. But
exactly.
at the time, it was it must have been.
Well, it's acceptable, so you don't see that there's a problem with it.
So, no, you talk about work. Would you say you was a functioning alcoholic at that time, or were you already? You went on to the next level.
I think there's a fine line, and you're not really sure where that line is, because you've been doing it for so many years in that manner that it just becomes normal if then you're ill or you don't want to go to work. That's a part of the whole cycle as well. So I think functioning alcoholics are the hardest to identify, because there's so many of us. And I say us because it is a growing problem. People are not seeing that just starting out an ordinary binge drinking weekend to drinking regularly, even that is just as damaging.
But it's quite interesting you say the functional. We could all be working with someone who's got a drink problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for us, we tend to think an alcoholic is someone out on the streets, someone who's homeless, who's got a bottle of cider next to him, scruffy, asking for money. Yeah. That's the perception we generally have, but we don't realise how many actually functioning alcoholics there is. No,
that's absolutely true. And we put the onus on the person suffering, and we say, oh, it's them who can't stop, or they don't have the willpower to stop. And it's only going through the journey you realise that you're powerless. When you have any form of an addiction, you're powerless to it. And that's where an understanding needs to come, I think, from family, friends, the wider circle who's around somebody who is suffering, that it really isn't their fault.
Also, Sonal, can I ask, when did you first start drinking?
I think it was probably around the age of 15 or 16, and it was probably, just over a social kind of family gathering, and it was a treat, an anniversary or a birthday or somebody's, and you get a little sip as a, oh, here's your first taster to alcohol, really.
And at the height of your drinking, how much were you drinking, would you say?
A fair amount. I would say, it could be quite a few units. Do I need to? I'm going to specify, don't I?
No, you don't have to specify if you don't want to. That's fine.
I just, when we count numbers and things, I feel like it was bad. So when I'm talking first thing in the morning to last thing at night, so that's all you think of.
Yeah. So obviously it was a large quantity.
Yes, it was a large quantity. Yeah.
And throughout your drinking, the impact it must have had on your family must have been quite devastating for your family.
Absolutely is. I think you don't realise what you're doing when you're going through it, because you're not being controlled by your own self or your own mind. You are being controlled by the addiction. And so you don't often see the harm and the hurt that you're causing everyone. And of course you do. And I think ultimately they just want the best for you. They want to get the right support for you. And that's what it takes.
But was your family, I know you said your mum worked in she's a nurse, and obviously saw a lot of this in a day-to-day in a work, but when you're dealing with it with a family member, it's slightly different. Yeah. And there must have been a lot of frustration for your mum.
Absolutely. That's the one thing that she did say. She said, it's so different me giving advice to other people. It's so different when it's my own daughter. And I think what she then ended up doing was doing a lot more research about addictions, about alcohol dependency, and really trying to understand the condition as it is, and then seeing that she could be more empathetic towards me going through it, because she'd equipped herself with some more knowledge.
So when they say that this is a family illness, how true do you think that is?
I don't really know, because there's a lot of research now being done, and I think it's epigenetics and alcoholism, which is saying the nature-nurture debate about your genes and whether they evolve and change due to your experiences. So I think an element could depend on that.
When I say it's a family illness, I say the impact that it has.
Oh, sorry, apologies.
The family needs support as well. Your mum was quite conscious, and she did her research, and the empathy was very important to you. This is what I'm saying, because I know my drinking had a huge effect on my wife, my kids, my mum, my grandma, my siblings. So that's what I'm trying to say. But your mum actually did her research. But a mother or a father from the Punjab who probably won't have the resources or won't have the knowledge to Google something.
Sure.
You know, and how important is that for those families to reach out to people like the Akaal Channel, to projects like this, to get that support?
Well, I think, you know, you said it exactly there, that there are other people then with the resources and the help, and so it's just a matter of connecting those families to the right place to get that help. And so just coming forward and making that call and realizing that what you're doing is really going to help and make a difference. And I think that unconditional love, this is where it truly comes in. This is what families are meant to be about. It's great when everyone's there during the great times and the, you know, when you're living a high life. But when you really need the support, this is when it matters. Really does.
Satsangaji, we're going to come back and talk more to Sonal, but Satsangaji, like Sonal has said, a lot of families need this support, don't sometimes have the resources or the knowledge on where to look for the help, and this is where the Akaal Sikh Recovery Project is hoping to help families and the suffering addicts who are struggling to reach out and get the help that they need. Satsangaji, we're here to support you, guide you in all the help you need. And like I said at the beginning, this is all confidential. Your anonymity will be respected, and it rightly should be respected. Sonal is very comfortable talking about her problem today with her relationship with alcohol, because she wants to help other females in particular with the same issue. And Satsangaji, let's not pull the wool over our eyes. There is a lot of women, just like men, struggling. So it's great that Sonal has joined us today. And Satsangaji, please join us again after the break, where we'll talk more to Sonal and her experiences, strength and hopes. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sri Akaal. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Satsangaji, welcome to the second half of the Akaal Sikh Recovery Programme, where, as you know, we're talking to Sonal, who's a recovering alcoholic, a female recovering alcoholic, and we're very grateful to Sonal, who's been very open and forthcoming with her addiction to alcohol, who's sharing this, and it's for the benefit of the Sangat at home who may have a female or know a female in their family or know a loved one who's struggling. So Satsangaji, thank you to you, Sonal, for sharing your journey, and it's been very interesting. Sonal, I'd just like to, you know, you spoke about the support you've had from your family. You know, we know it's important, but how important was that for you at the time when you probably first told them, or they realised that you've got quite a toxic relationship with alcohol?
I think realising that you're not alone. It's a hard enough journey. You've already kind of cordoned yourself off when you've got this condition, because it is something that is in secret. You've done so well at hiding it for so many years that it's almost a relief actually when somebody finds out, because you think, finally now, I can breathe, and now even if someone can just reach out half an hand or give me one finger, I know that I will grab it, because that's something that I've not had to help and support.
So no, there's one thing I didn't ask you earlier, is how long have you been clean now?
For 28 months.
28 months,
yeah,
wow,
28 months.
That's great. And that must feel great.
It does, it's amazing. I never thought that I could live such a happy life, happy sober life. You know, we're conditioned from such a young age in thinking that alcohol or drugs or whatever, it's all part of the fun and the games of altering where you are. But if you realise that you can be happy in your current state in this world, you don't really need anything else.
And, you know, being an Asian female, have you come across any other Asian females in recovery?
Yes, I have actually.
And how's that? Have you supported each other?
We have, yeah. We regularly try and get together for coffees, or we just check in with each other and see how we are, you know, how we're doing. But it's something that I really want to build in the open. And so a big part of me coming on the show today was really about, you know, let's not be scared. We don't need to hide. We don't need to shy away from who we are. We are all somebody's daughter, mother, wife. You know, what does that mean? Does that mean we don't seek help when we really need it? We should be able to come forward
And that's what the Akaal Channel is trying to do.
Yeah.
It's trying to encourage men and women.
It's so important.
And also the families that need support, because we often forget about the families. I know we come into contact with a lot of families and they're struggling. You know, they're broken as well. Just like the addict, the families are broken.
Yeah. No, I think even just hearing stories of other families, you soon realise the destruction. It's only when you come out of the other side that you realise how much, you know, you actually caused. And the only thing you can do is to move forward and live your life in the way that you were always meant to. And
intended to.
Yeah, exactly that. What the purpose of your life was, you know?
You talked about someone's mother, someone's daughter, someone's sister. Do you feel that there's an added pressure being a female?
I think definitely.
In the Asian community?
Yes, I think culturally there are a lot of issues there that may be subtle, they're still underlying. We don't necessarily discuss them. And I think what led me, you know, to drinking was, or could be, contributed to some of those cultural issues that I felt I was always in conflict with. So I definitely think that culturally we could do more as a society to help women and empower them more.
But, you know, like you're doing, you're hoping that this, the Akaal Sikh Recovery Project and the Akaal Channel will help more women come forward. And what you're trying to do is provide a support mechanism for them, of Asian women getting together and sharing their experiences, strengths and hopes. You know, that is crucial, I think.
It definitely is. I think realising that you have a safe space that you can come to in a confidential, you know, manner, realising that the person you're speaking to or is hosting it is an open book. You know, I'm willing to share my story with anyone who wants to be able to identify and say, I can see the similarities, or that's happening to me right now. What can I do, or what did you do to get out of it? And that's all it is about sharing what I did. It may work, it may not work, but it's just a solution or a way to get out.
Sorry, but also being in that environment, one of the important things for me was not to be judged. You know, and we tend to, in our communities, we tend to judge a lot.
Yes, we do.
And I think to be in that safe environment and not be judged is very crucial. Did you feel that in your addiction that you was judged?
Yeah, I think mainly by extended family or by people who just don't understand addictions. You know, no matter how much you would try to explain, no one really, unless they want to understand, can. So I think people do have their judgmental views, and you just have to realise that their views and their opinions don't matter. And you are in this for your own betterment, and therefore those people I let just fizzle out of my life, really.
You know, I know from my experience that fellowships do help. You know, the fellowship of AA helped me enormously. Other culturally empathic groups have helped. But there's also service providers out there. If people want to, they can go to those services. And how important is it for people to reach out to those service providers, as well as the fellowships, as well as the community groups? You know, those service providers can be your first point of contact that your GP recommends.
Yes, they can be, and even outside of the GP, there are a lot of centres, recovery centres. I know that everything nowadays is on Google, but if somebody doesn't have access to Google or is not sure how to use it, I'm sure a younger member in their family may be able to help and just do a search for them. So I think, you know, the information is at our fingertips. So let's try and support that person. Yes, nobody likes to be told when you're, as we know, when you're an alcoholic, you will not listen to anyone telling you or calling you on until you realise it yourself. Until you realise and identify you've got a problem. It is just name calling, and it's hurtful. You know, so. And you touched upon something earlier as well, love. You know, when we're in, you know, deep in our addiction, that's something that we don't have, love for ourselves. And for someone else to reach out and give you that love, it's a big thing, isn't it? It is hard, and it must be even harder for our family, because they see that we're not looking after ourselves. They know that we're causing our own self-destruction, and they're helpless in this. So I think, you know, family is, although we're not loving ourselves, if they can just shower us with even more love, then that gives us hope to realise that we can love ourselves again.
How much self-love do you give yourself today?
Oh, loads. You know, I actually take out time for myself to do the things that I enjoy, that are creative for me, that make me smile, you know, whether that's a walk in nature or drawing or singing or... So I think that you find all these innate talents that you had suppressed along with all your emotions with the alcohol. And when you stop that, you suddenly feel this lease of life that nothing is impossible now. Because for me, being sober seemed impossible. So now anything else is very possible.
Sat here talking about this would have felt impossible. Or you wouldn't have dreamt of it. But it is, it's incredible what recovery can give you.
Yes, it can.
I know you have a passion for music.
Yes, I do,
And how's music helped you in your recovery?
It heals you. It really does. You know, you can put your heart and soul into something else, an instrument that can create some beautiful music. And for me, even if you can't find the beauty in yourself or you're struggling yourself, just doing that or picking up a pen, doodling, drawing, you know, it can distract your mind from those destructive thoughts, which I think as a recovering alcoholic, you only too well know how dangerous they can be. And so it's really about finding those alternatives to...
So I know there's a lot of people going to be watching this program today, and for those suffering out there, and in particular the females, I know, you know, mentioning the females a lot, and that's because I'm sat with you as well. I know you're a recovering alcoholic, a female, but the Akaal Channel is getting a lot of calls from females. So if there's particularly any women out there that are struggling today, what message would you like to give to them?
I would really like to say that you're not on your own. You know, don't feel isolated, don't feel that there's no way out, that it's a black hole. I often thought that there'll be no light at the end of the tunnel, and it's only through the journey that slowly, day by day, you realize that there is hope. Let's all get together, let's empower each other, let's be a strength in numbers that can come together in a safe space, talk. Hopefully, you know, I'll leave the details with Jazz, and you can reach out to me directly, and we can, you know, be that network that can just hold each other's hand and just get through this, because you really can. Honestly, there is hope. I didn't think that I would be alive today, and I'm here telling you my story, so there is hope, and you can do this.
Sonal, thank you for that, and I'm sure the viewers at home will reach out, and listening to your story, well, I have no doubt that it will empower them and bring them forward. What are your hopes and desires, and what aspirations do you have? You know, I know you're 28 months?
Yeah, 28 months sober now.
You know, you must have other aspirations, and you know, you want to do things more in recovery now.
Absolutely, because to me, this is a blessing. What happened to me, I never regret. I never say, why did it happen to me? I've grown to accept all of the things that have happened to me, and that was a part of my own self-development, spiritual growth. You know, there's a lot of self-love that goes on, and I'd be really happy to share that journey with the other women who want to, you know, come through this. So, yeah, I really, I don't know what.
But you've mentioned two words there that are quite important: acceptable. Yeah. What is acceptable to our families, and but it's acceptance for you today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who you are.
Yeah.
And acceptance that this isn't, you're not cursed with this.
No.
That it is a blessing.
Absolutely,
and sitting
it's a
here
blessing.
today at the Akaal Channel Studios in Southall is a gift.
It is an absolute gift. I cannot thank you enough for the opportunity, because this is my way to give back. I had, you know, or I have addiction. You know, I'm in recovery for a reason, and that is to help share my story, put others in touch, and to really grow. Is what I would want, a community where women can speak about it. We should be able to go to our melas and our community functions and have a stall there. We should be able to have leaflets informing people, you know, this is a problem, it's growing. We're not doing anything about it.
Sonal, well, we want to thank you wholeheartedly for coming and sharing your journey with us, your hopes, strengths and experiences, and we wish you well, and I'm sure you'll be joining us again, because I'm sure people will want to speak to you or listen to you more. Sar Singh, I'm sorry, that's where we have to end the program today, but please keep phoning in if you need help, you want to speak more to Sonal and some of the work that she's doing to help other women in recovery or help out of addiction, then you can contact the Akaal Channel and we will provide you with Sonal's details. But more importantly, Sar Singh, if you need help, we can also signpost you to the relevant agencies who are supporting people out there. And also, if Sonal has given you the the courage and the strength to come forward, and you want to talk about your journey in recovery and your experiences in addiction, then please contact the Akaal channel, and you are also welcome to come and share your journey with us. So Satsang ji, till next week, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.